Aloha kako. Mahalo for joining us for our second spring installment of Short Reads, the Hawaiian Journal of History Author Series. For those who may be new to our series, it's a collaborative effort between Windward Community College Library and the Hawaiian Historical Society, aimed at bringing in-person presentations by esteemed historians specializing in Hawaii's rich history. I'm thrilled to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Anita Manning. Anita brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our gathering. As a historian and educator, she's not only delved into various facets of Hawaiian history, but she also boasts a significant background in management. Her contributions are extensive. She played a pivotal role in the state's World War I Centennial and has authored works covering topics ranging from history of Hawaii science to museum management. Her research spans intriguing subjects such as the involvement of Hawaii residents in the American Civil War and the establishment of a Boy Scout troop for children with Hansen's disease. Additionally, Anita holds the esteemed position of historian for the Honolulu Elks Lodge, a revered institution steeped in tradition, boasting a rich legacy that spans over 120 years since its establishment in 1901. So without further ado, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Anita Manning.
Thank you. Okay. Well, welcome and thank you for coming. I told the staff they picked a very historic day to have this event. March 25th, 1961, Elvis Presley put on his presentation at the Block Arena, raising money for the construction of the USS Arizona Memorial. He raised $60,000. Today, that would be $622,728. So it was very successful. But that's not all. Relating to the Civil War, March 25th, 1865, Lee's Army of Northern Virginia began an offensive against Grant's troops at Petersburg, but it flunked. And 4 hours later, it was a no-no. It didn't work. But here in Hawaii, March 25th, 1865, the Advertiser ran an article telling everybody not to expect the L.M. Stacy ship to dock because the South's attack ship, the Shenandoah, had sunk it in the ocean, and all the goods it was carrying for Hawaii were gone. So we have a very historic day here to do this. One thing that you see here, this is the National Park Service book, part of the series, and it's in the state library system, it's in this library system, and others. But the other thing is the Hawaiian Journal of History, the Hawaiian Historical Society runs, volume 48, 2014. There's an article by Justin Vance and myself, Hawaii at Home During the American Civil War, that goes over in great detail a lot of the things we're going to brush over today, and some things that we won't be able to get to, so those are worth following up on. Well, we're going to look at some patriotic events, some Christian charity, and good old American demand by consumers and how you can make yourself a buck. Yes, patriotism was something estranged Americans out in the neutral country of Hawaii were occasionally celebrating in various ways, but they weren't alone when it was a party, because all Hawaii likes a party. And the 4th of July was the easiest party event for years and years in Hawaii. Not just for the Civil War, but it had been going on for years and years and years, that on the 4th of July there'd be these extravaganza events with all kinds of things, but with a Hawaii tone. Notice they're going to have a hula show. And they would hold mock elections. Lincoln did pretty good, and to the best of my knowledge, Brigham Young wasn't really running for president, but he got 7 votes in Hawaii. And of course, none of these votes counted. It was just for fun. So that was one of the things they would do. But 1862, wow, this is how to maybe kill yourself. Chasing a greased pig, climbing a pole that's been greased and trying not to fall down to the bottom in a hurry. Wheelbarrow races, etc. All sorts of things you can do to try to win a prize or kill yourself. 1863, there was quite a production, and notice that the men got their party and the women and children had a separate party. But again, it wasn't just Americans. The part that keeps blowing me away is the English, the British, celebrating the 4th of July. Unless, as it finally occurred to me, they were celebrating getting rid of us. I hadn't thought of that before, but that could be it. Lots of good food. There were church services, and the mission children group did go. There's Mr. Love, yes, that Mr. Love, Love's bakery guy, and he has his own party. He's British, but the newspaper reports that he has the best pies and cakes and desserts. And so the city had a good time. 1864, again, another big event, and one of the things that terrified me when I first heard they had done this was, you know, ships in the harbor sometimes get a leak, and there are these barrels of tar that they use to seal the sides of the ship, or if one of the masts has got a crack or something. Okay. It's July. It has been dry for some time. Would you take a barrel of tar up on the side of Punch Bowl and light it with fire? They didn't burn the city down. I don't know how, but they didn't. Food and drink, and again, trying out the voting. Then 1865, again, a lot of good food and singing and events. The real fun thing, edutainment, I called it. Pretending to be instructional, but a lot of fun. Cutting edge events. But also collecting Pokemon cards. Everybody remember that? Going bonkers? It's not new. Carte de visite were little calling card size photographs, and important people would have these made of themselves and given out at events. Now, they weren't doing this in Hawaii, they were doing it in North America, okay? Who's in North America? The sons of the missionaries and others who are in college there as foreign students, okay? And I say that because, remember, they are not American citizens, they do not qualify for the draft. So if they were in the Army, they volunteered, they weren't drafted. But they were able to go to some of these public events where these carte de visite were being given out by named people. the ladies and mostly the young teenage girls in Hawaii were bonkers to have more of these than their friend. And they're writing letters to their brothers and cousins and nephews and whatever in North America. Oh, I need this person, that person, and and these letters are going out. And so it was the hot item of the time. But the edutainment, there were two cutting edge technology items. One was this polyorama, and as best it's described, you're talking about paintings that depict important events from the war, and they're huge, and you take them into a theater and you have people pull them across the stage while there's a narration explaining it, okay? And so that's been touring, and it comes to Hawaii on its way around the world. But the really techno exciting one came a couple of years later, the stereoscopticon. And this is a projection of light through a painted glass. And it's like an early slide. It's like, and it was such a hot item that one of the missionaries used it as a weapon against his kids doing their chores and homework and stuff. And they didn't follow through, and he wouldn't let them go. And he brags about that. But it was a big deal. So Hawaii got the cutting edge there. But the part that brings in the guava jelly is the charity. And one thing, I have a quote here I wanted to read to you. The Reverend Damon, who's the editor of the magazine The Friend, that's a terrific source, and he wrote that he was urging everyone to contribute and help with these charitable activities. His statement is good today. Those who do not go to the front ought to willingly contribute to the comfort of those who are brought to the rear, wounded and bleeding. That's still true. So he was part of the groups organizing the charity, but of course it was the ladies who were doing all the work. Collecting and sending cut up cloth as bandages. They were soliciting bits of cloth from the community, and they had parties to make the guava jelly, and that was shipped as part of, in a way, it may have actually given the wounded some vitamin C, maybe. But it was at least something they couldn't get any other way. One of the ways they raised money were events, and this festival came as the money was going to a group called the U.S. Christian Commission. Remember, a lot of the things we think of now as caring for the injured or the soldiers or Navy guys, those didn't exist. And the official hospitals of the military were very understaffed and didn't have a lot of the resources you expect now. So these private organizations were supplying that kind of stuff. And so they would have these events with various presentations that would be things you'd want to pay to see or buy. And they made, in today's money, $107,190 in this one event, the equivalent of that they shipped to that agency. A tableau, partly this is the idea that you would be pretending to be some historic event, and you'd be frozen in a position. Let's say you were Romeo and Juliet, or you were some important event. And so this was a really hot item for teenagers because it was an excuse to be close to a boy or a girl. And Frozen. And a good way to spend time with people in a way your parents wouldn't let you normally. So that was no problem getting volunteers for that. Okay. And then the other group was called the U.S. Sanitary Commission. They had a fundraiser for that. And this wonderful idea was they were selling a framed picture of George Washington and a framed copy of the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, the original idea was they had one and they were going to sell it. And the guy who bought the Washington picture gave it back right there and said, sell it again. And that meant the next guy couldn't keep it either. And it went on 17 times. And they made a pack of money. And then the same thing happened with the Emancipation Proclamation, because after that first deal, you couldn't walk off with that either. And they sold that 20 times and really got big money. So that was really, that guy deserves, everybody's praise for that. And then one of the things they did over the years was collect things that people would give, and they were shipped to San Francisco mostly and sold there, and then the cash went to the Sanitary Commission. So those are some of the family names. You may recognize some of them that were especially good at giving things. And but the folks in San Francisco, of course, also knew what they were doing when they bought those things, that's where the money was going to go. So it was a combined charity. And this list, which is only part of the list that I could, if I got the whole thing on the slide, you couldn't read it, it would be so small. List of people who gave to the Sanitary Commission. And if you look, you can see HI on several of the names. See here from Lina, and here's, and so Hawaii was getting the exposure for having contributed that way. Yeah.
Can I do a question now or wait till?
Yeah.
No? Amongst that whole list, any Native Hawaiians on the list?
It's been so long since I looked at the whole list, I'd have to go back and look, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it just, hopefully their real name got used, as you know very well. Often the system gave them names that the system could process, like Joe Maui, or so that, of course, not being the real name. But Hawaiians, I think Nanette covered this, Hawaiians who enlisted in the military were often given cover names.
So the names?
Yeah, so, yeah. Okay, and then you never pass up a chance to make a buck. And if there's a crisis, there has to be a way to make some money out of it, and this is no different. You have to buy things that show you're a patriot, like envelopes and letter paper that have flags on them and that sort of thing, or pins. And when it's the 4th of July, you want to get your kid a torpedo, right? And I saw that and I went, what? Are you kidding? There are ships in the harbor. Was it, you're going to take the kid to the harbor and let him throw a torpedo in the ocean? And I thought, no, Anita, there has to be another answer to this. And I remembered Bishop Museum has this huge antique dictionary. I mean, it's that thick, okay? It has its own support system. And sure enough, there's like 5 or 6 answers to what a torpedo is. We'd call it a popper. You just throw it at the ground and it blows up, okay? It's not a torpedo. But that one really blew me away. And of course, you want to buy a flag and some things with the appropriate mottos on them. But most importantly, you can guess that with the northern embargo and stopping all the exports from the south, you might run out of tobacco. So you better hurry and get it now. Stock up while I can get rich. While I can sell it to you. This is so modern. It's just something that would happen now, right? You'd see okay. But you have to celebrate the 4th of July with all the right goings on and the right outfit, and you can buy that from me. And you can't be a loyal American if you don't get drunk on the 4th of July. And so you'll need some beer, and you need to order it ahead. Now here's the kicker. This was printed July 1st. Does anybody here know how to make beer in 3 days? I don't know. But hopefully they had a big stock and they weren't planning on feeding you quickie beer. But it is important to get your beer for the 4th of July. So I will hope that you all enjoy your beer when the 4th of July comes again. Let's see. Okay. Nope. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
A few slides back, you talked about them making bandages, and then you said lints. They were donating lints
Yeah.
instead of.
Have you found a definition of lint, Nanette?
I think I did a long time ago, but I can't remember.
Yeah, my memory is that it's what we would think of as cotton.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's hot, it's like
Oh,
padding or
okay.
ball.
Yeah. But that's the word they used.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So in this one here, it says post office building previous. Do you know if that's the post office building on Merchant Street? Just wondering, because that's a theater now.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be cool if it
That
was.
one country, one people, one lager. Talk about it's me or nobody. Yes. Anybody else? Yeah. Going back to Reverend Damon, Nanette, did we talk about his when you spoke? Did you talk about him and his statement about the cause of the war?
No.
Okay. This isn't really about entertainment or guava jelly, but it's worth putting out there. It's in the article. Very early on, Damon in The Friend published an article saying the cause of the war is slavery. Okay, something we're still debating. And he goes on about it a bit. And then in the newspaper, several days after that comes out, there is a letter to the editor from an anonymous writer who signs himself K. That covers 3/4 of the population, so you can't find him. And he goes on and on about how, oh no, it's not about slavery, on, and how he actually says that the slaves are the best cared for people. And yeah, his face came, yes. And so Damon writes back in the newspaper, well, if they're so well cared for, you'll be enrolling your children in this program, right? And that's the end. We never heard from Kay again. That took care of that. So, but those are the kind of things that are in the Journal of Hawaiian History article. And a lot about the church work and how they had church programs and such. So, okay. Well, thank you. Yes.
Do you have any unanswered questions, things that you puzzled over that you just couldn't find the answer to?
Pretty much, you always have that when you're doing history work. It's some of the things that, well, you just keep hoping you'll find more details about some of the things, but not any really big things. I mean, for instance, it's obvious Hawaii needed to be neutral. It couldn't take sides. It couldn't defend itself if one or the other groups came after it, that kind of thing. I don't think there's any really big items. Yeah, yes.
You know, sometimes when you're researching history, you tend to fall down a lot of rabbit holes. You come across something exciting or funny or something. How did you become interested in this topic, or was this one of those rabbit holes?
I have to go back and think about that.
Where did you find most of your research? Where did you do most of your research?
Oh, well, between the Mission Children's Society files, because the families kept all their letters, and everything was letters in those days, and the Hawaii State Archives, where all the government records are, were very important. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious, do they give what kinds of quilts? Were they related to American flag quilts that were being made by the Union women?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, she's asking, do we know what kind of quilts, what decor or look they had that were given? I've never seen any detailed description. Have you, Nanette? No? Okay, yeah. Oh, I don't think so.
Because there were American flag quilts being made by the Union, and then of course the Hawaiians made Hawaiian flag quilts.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, to watch for that. Yes, sir.
And do you know if the Hawaiian language newspapers had a different take on all of this?
I didn't ever see anything that showed a like pro-South, you know, slavery is a great idea kind of thing. If that's, it was mostly about the charitable support kind of thing.
Anybody else have any further questions? I'd love to know what you're working on now. Or are you taking a break?
Well, I've, in the last years, I've been working more on the history of the Elks Lodge and some of the things that they did. And you mentioned the Boy Scout troop at Kalaupapa. I was researching that because the Elks funded the kids in their troop. For those who didn't hear that, there was a Boy Scout troop at Kalaupapa for many, many, many years. And they originally had a sponsor who was paying the cost, because of course most of these kids come from families that don't have much money. And they wanted uniforms and things like that. And then that person disappeared, and the Elks Lodge stepped in and started paying their costs, and also serving on committees and doing things like saying in the minutes of the meeting, oh, we should send them a subscription to Boys Life, you know, things like that. But what rarely gets mentioned is there was also a hospital out on the cusp of Pearl Harbor, and at that was a transit station for folks who were being examined and sent to Kalapapa. And for the very youngest children, they kept them there and they had a school with the obscene name of Mount Happy. I can't imagine doing that to kids who were sick, but they did. And so December 7th, they were right there and saw it all. And then the whole hospital and the kids were evacuated after December 7th in cattle boats because no one wanted them in a passenger boat. The Boy Scouts put on their uniforms and saluted the smoking ruins as they were taken away. So if you want a definition of guts, I tell people, you're 10 or 12 years old, you're told you're going to be sick the rest of your life, and you're going to be ripped away from your family, and blah, blah, blah. And you say, I want to be a Boy Scout and help others. And they did. I mean, they did all kinds of work at the Kalapapa to help others. So that's, stuff like that really took me away from the others. But yeah, the Lodge has a lot of experiences over the years, and so I'm having fun digging into that. Yeah. Okay.
Anita.